Hello everyone, I'm Meric, Senior Community Manager here at Wolfson Studio, and today I have our art director Elliot with me, and I'm going to be asking him one of the things that you really wanted to find out. So, can you tell us about the art direction?
Yes, of course. Our key pillars are mythology, dead gods, post-apocalypse, and dark fantasy. Dark fantasy, to start there, to us is horror, it's decay. To sum it up, it's a nightmare. So we're using tropes like necromancy, body horror, and cultists, just to name a few. And this allows us to take mythology and reinterpret it in our own way and make it unique and stand out. But also it allows us to take all our different civilizations from every mythology and make them all tied together, make them feel they all come from the same universe. Now, just to give maybe one example of how that translates, in our Norse universe, or the Norse world we're creating at the moment, we have Odin's Valkyries that have been Cronenberged by dwarves, just so that they can resurrect the Asgard army in order for them to fight the man-eating giant. So that's something to show that there's in our game there's room for not only typical mythological monsters like for example centaurs or sphinxes, but there's also room for hardcore dark fantasy monsters with 12 arms. Say a little bit more about our post-apocalyptic pillar. For us it stands for a world that is in decay, that is destroyed, it's in ruins, nothing is straight anymore. And this sets the perfect stage for an extraction game. Players will explore temples in ruins, they'll explore the pyramids of the gods, they'll find battlefields littered with corpses and drakars that are stuck in the ice. You have Asgard that is being besieged with warring factions desperately trying to gather the last remaining relics of the gods. And then maybe just last word about the dead gods. For us, these are the most impressive parts of our maps. They stand out. They make it memorable. They're big, huge landmarks that players will find. They represent glory of the gods that once was and that is now came to an abrupt end. And we hope that will invite players to want to learn more and investigate our universe. So what we see here are the Jotnar, giant Norsemen that threaten the last remaining vestige of Asgard. Here we explored the basic version and also the two elemental versions, fire and ice. Yes, so the story behind them is that Odin and Thor were basically keeping the Jotnar at bay, but now that they're dead, they ravaged the land and they are besieging Asgard.
So I have our game director Andre with me, and are we going to have teleportation links between places in the map?
Yeah, so at the minute we have links for short distances over otherwise unpassable obstacles in the terrain. We were thinking of adding and trying out to have some links between larger distances. So for example, you could enter a dungeon on the north side of the map and exit it on the south side of the map to have a sort of way to circumvent from one part to another. We're also potentially going to experiment later on with links between maps themselves. So say you start on a map and then you have to go to a different map and extract from that one. You might want to experiment with some stuff like that, but that's all very much in the future for us. At the minute, we just want to get the basic formula of the game and then go from there.
Are we thinking of adding some weather events during a game? Like for example, a big fog that reduces the field of view?
Yes. So this is one of the most exciting features that I want to add into the game. As I mentioned a bit earlier, we want to have not a very boring timer to the game that completely ends the game. The idea is that throughout the match, the game is going to get more and more intense for the player. You're going to have tougher enemies spawn on the map, and with those, maybe even something I call environmental hazards. So you might have entire areas of the map disabled by different effects that make it very dangerous to stay there, either through limiting visibility or maybe even just killing you outright if you're not careful. But this is one of the features that we're still working on, and we hope to get into the game before we hit our beta period.
And how about the random events, like for example that change the drop percentage of an certain item?
We do have some stats tied into that. So, for example, we have a luck stat that affects some of the things that drop within the game. There's still a lot of experimentation to do there, and we've reserved that kind of for the later part in our alpha cycle. So, I think the very last closed alpha test that we're going to do before we put the game in an open state is going to be an economy test.
And let's talk about the anti-cheating measures.
We're looking and researching into several active anti-cheating solutions. We have, as far as a policy goes, a no tolerance policy. So we do not want to have cheats in the game. We don't want to have real money trading, and those are going to be bannable offenses for us. As to which anti-cheating software we're going to use, and as far as I know, that's still pretty much under investigation from our side. But we are looking to find the best one out of the bunch, so we really have a strong solution. Other than that, we also want to add some kind of anti-cheating tools into the game. So basically the ability for players to report so that we can further investigate even beyond what automatic tools can do is definitely something we want to have in there.